All right,
No, they don't.
fast forward to this year. And now this week, what happened? Jared Goff signs a new deal. It's
Mm,
$53 million a year. And I think people around the 49ers and around who are familiar with the 49ers and familiar with the situation and quarterback pay are now looking at Brock Purdy and they're coming to the realization that, you know what? This guy's going to probably get north of $50 million per year when he gets his first non-rookie contract. And immediately, there's content creators going, they can't give him $50 million. They won't be able to win with him at 50. He's not a $50 million a year quarterback. The worst thing they could do is give him $50 million. If they give him $50 million, they'll eliminate themselves from winning a chance to win the Super Bowl. And all this hyper negativity about now what the Niners will be under Purdy. The Chiefs paid Mahomes a boatload, had to get rid of Tyreek Hill, still have found a way to win the last couple Super Bowls
yeah.
and are going for a three-peat. So I don't know. It hasn't ruined them, but there's the argument that Brock, if you pay Brock Purdy $50 million, that you're going to screw your team and you're never going to be a Super Bowl contender, and it's the worst thing of all time, and he can't, and he's not, and he's this, and he's that, and he's not good enough, and he'll be making too much money. And once again, the haters come out. The same people that were telling you that Trey Lance was better than Brock Purdy are now telling you that if the Niners give Brock Purdy $50 million, that they can't win with him.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people? I mean, these people never liked Brock Purdy. They only reluctantly acknowledged that Purdy was better than Lance after it was abundantly obvious to everybody. And they're still waiting around for every time he doesn't play well I told you he's not the guy. He's not him. All these rips on Brock Purdy. The disrespect from the Trey Lance people are, some of them came to their wits and realized that Brock's better, but there's a whole group of them that just still to this day don't believe in Purdy and are now going to take this next, even though he's been now to the Super Bowl. He literally, came within an eyelash of beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and which was their stated, hey, if he wins a Super Bowl, then he's real.
Mm-hmm.
But because he hasn't won that Super Bowl now, and now they're on the verge of paying him maybe maybe $55 million a year. Now here come the haters with if you pay him that much money, you'll never win. What do you think,
Yeah.
Raj? What do you think?
At the end of the day, all I gotta say about those people is haters gonna hate. People just hate Brock because they're jealous to see him succeed. It like goes back to what you were saying that first season, and when he had to come in, Brock goes down, or sorry, Jimmy goes down. Trey Lance went down a couple weeks before that. Like I just remember the vibe in the stadium. I just remember everybody. The aura was like wind was knocked out everybody's sails, and we're like, oh my god, everybody. I just remember everyone's like, oh my god, this team's done. Oh my god, I can't believe it. And Brock comes in. Nobody knew who Brock Purdy was, right? And everybody's like, oh god, we got this young Brock Purdy guy, and he did great, and he won. So people are like, oh, there was no film on him. Okay, no
Wait
film.
till next week. Wait
Till
until
next
he
week.
goes up against Tampa.
He beats Tom
Tampa,
Brady.
yeah.
He beats Tom Brady, and
He
then
beats Tom
okay,
35-7, though. It
yeah,
wasn't just he beat Tom
it was
Brady, it was
he
35 to
beat him.
7.
He beat him, and it was okay. You know what? Still
Wait till he
limited
goes on the
film.
road.
Tampa Bay's just not a good team. Well, wait till he gets to a road. And every
Then he
week,
goes to
wait,
Seattle.
he kept on chucking, and he was doing good.
Wait till he faces the Commanders D line. Remember that one?
Oh, wait till he goes into Philly. And okay, he got injured. And if it wasn't for that, we know now, looking back, had he been healthy, Niners would have crushed him. Bottom line. Okay. Flash forward to last season, he came back from a torn fucking UCL. Sorry, excuse my language. And he
No,
balled out. He
please
was
do.
an MVP candidate, Larry. MVP candidate in his first year as a starter, coming off a torn UCL. He had to rehab, and everybody was like, "Oh, as long as he could just be basic and get this team floating around." They had the number one explosive offense, and then people said, "Oh, it was because they had this guy, this guy, this guy." No, they just can't accept it. And going back to what you said about like Jimmy Garoppolo, the whole stat, I remember that because everybody was saying, "Oh, well, he can't win with Jimmy." Look at the quarterbacks they had. They were so bad. Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard. Like sometimes you just have to understand, call a spade a spade. Brock is a good quarterback. People don't want to accept it. And I think it's because all the factors you laid out, the size, the draft position, he can't be good. He's a seventh round pick. He's not a first round quarterback like all these other successful first round. He didn't have a lot of hype coming out. He was a 4-year starter. So and he couldn't be good if he stayed in college forever. He didn't come out early. A lot of those factors, the Niners have weapons. But honestly, if Brock puts together another season like he did last year, the MVP caliber season, Niners win the NFC West, and win 11 games this year, he should get at least $55 million a year. He's better than Jared Goff, who he beat heads up in the playoffs. Bottom line, Niners probably almost, if Brock Purdy didn't strap it up and come out in that second half and dominate the way he did, Niners don't win that game. He was a big reason why they won. And when it matters most, Brock Purdy plays good football. He's clutch. He plays good in the crunch time. I mean, is he perfect? No, he had some bad moments here that every quarterback does.
but
But
very few.
I'd take Brock over Jared Goff every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And you know what that means? He's going to get paid higher than him. As long as he stays healthy this season and puts together a monumental season like he did last year, he's getting paid. Guess what? He set the franchise record for the 49ers in passing yards in his second season. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. No, I mean, Alex Smith said it best the day on 95.7 The Game. He said, you know what? The three elements that are vital in playing quarterback in the NFL, it's processing, it's accuracy, and it's toughness. You got to be and he said what really amazes me about Brock is the unbelievable toughness that he demonstrates. And I think he used the word courage, as there's 300-pounders flying by him left and right, and he stands in there and is willing to stand in against the rush and take those hits. He processes as well as any young quarterback in all of football, and the accuracy and the timing is just on point. So that's it. That's a wrap. The dude's really, really good. And yeah, is it going to be more challenging for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl with Brock making 50 million as opposed to 870,000? Yeah, it's going to be tougher, but it's not like it's impossible. And other teams have done it. It's going to be more of a challenge because it's a hard cap. You only have so much to spend on your roster, but let's stop pretending that, this really good young quarterback, who Shanahan and Lynch and the players and all kinds of NFL people, from analysts to ex-quarterbacks, have total confidence in. Seems like they have more confidence in him than many of the people who say football's their life and make their channel surrounding football. Well, if football is your life, then you should recognize that this guy's a good quarterback. I mean, if you're really all in on covering football, and okay, you made a mistake. You said that Trey Lance was better than this kid. Well, you were wrong. Okay. You were wrong. This kid is better than Trey Lance in any way you want to measure it. So you take the big L there, and instead of learning your lesson and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I just misgauged this kid. Maybe I misinterpreted what this kid's value proposition really was. Maybe I just didn't see it. Instead, it's like, keep doubling down. Yeah, we can't do it on the road, and he can't beat the same team twice, and wait till he gets to the playoffs, and wait till he can't go to Philly, and he can't do this, and he's doing it all. He's doing it all. And now that he's on the verge of actually getting paid what he's worth, now it's like, hey, if they pay him what he's worth, they can never win. And it's like, I don't subscribe to that theory that they can't. It's really, you need a great head coach and a great quarterback to win in the NFL. Okay. Brock Purdy is a great young quarterback. There's no question. They've got a key element there, but now people are going to come out in force and say their chances of winning, they can't pay this guy 50 million because if they do, oh my God, the sky's going to fall. They'll never win.
Yeah.
You were wrong about Lance and you're wrong about this. Yeah. This guy's going to, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they are going to continue to compete for Super Bowls after Brock Purdy's making north of $50 million a year. Are they going to have to be better at drafting and developing and signing? And are they going to have to make smart decisions? Yeah, it's going to tighten their equation and make it so they're going to have to be better at what they do. But
Yeah.
they're going to compete for Super Bowls when this guy's making 50 million. And all those people who said that that was an impossibility are going to be wrong again.
Absolutely. And I mean that's the market value. If you have a franchise quarterback, they gotta get paid. He deserves it. Again, if he has another season like he did, he deserves the money. You can't pay him, pennies. You got to pony up and pay him. Look at Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes is getting paid astronomically out of control. And you know what? That's a quarterback that shouldn't have got paid. But Brock Purdy has proven so far in his short career that he's worth the money. And if he does it again, you gotta. He's worth it. Danny Dimes wasn't worth it. And the thing is, I
And
feel like the NFL just keeps moving the goalposts on Brock. And that's what you said is 100% moving the goalposts, because it's like they find a way to belittle him. It's like, okay, it was the weapons. It was this. It was wait till next week. It was this. It was wait till he plays this guy. Okay, now it's the weapons, and now it's going to be saying, like you said, if they pay him, they're not going to win. But you know what? It's the NFL. The 49ers have been a good team since Lynch and Shanahan have taken over. Tells you Kyle's a good coach. I mean, yeah, he can't get over the hump. That's another story for another day. But John Lynch is a really good GM, and they've drafted well. They've shown that they will spend money on free agents when they need to. Like, yeah, they're going to lose some players here and there, but they've put together a good core. As long as those two guys are there and they have Brock, I think they'll continue to put a good foundation for this team. Honestly, to me, the biggest concern is losing Trent Williams instead of paying Brock Purdy. I'm more concerned about losing Trent Williams in a year or two. That's it. Bottom line.
right, because who's your left tackle? And there's always going to be personnel challenges. It's like building. Being in charge of a football personnel department is kind of like the guy who's in charge of painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You paint it orange, you get from one side to the other side, and then it's time to paint it again. And it's the same thing. It's like you keep drafting and signing and building your roster, and you feel like you've built it up to an amazing level. Then you've got one of the best rosters in pro football. Well, guess what? It never ends. It never ends because careers are short, and you need to keep drafting and keep winning in the draft and keep signing free agents and keep making good decisions. And if you don't do all those things, you fall back. And then here comes Green Bay, and here comes Detroit, and here comes Philly, and here comes, the Houston Texans, and suddenly youth is being served. So it's always going to be a challenge to win the Super Bowl. This regime hasn't done it yet. But stop telling me that Brock Purdy is now going to be the reason they don't win because you can't pay him $50 million. It's like you're going to pay him $50 million and you're going to figure it out. And it's really as simple as that. I asked a couple different people this week who were throwing out the idea that the Niners were going to be screwed if they had to pay him $50 million. I'm like, so what's the alternative? What's the alternative? You want to get rid of him and try your hand in free agency or the draft and try to find the next great quarterback? That's the thing. When you get a great quarterback in the NFL or a top tier quarterback, you don't want to say great. Okay. You get a top tier quarterback you think you can win with. You have to pay him because there's not enough quarterbacks to go around. There's 32 teams in the league. There are not 32, great starting quarterbacks. So if you got a quarterback you think you can go to a Super Bowl with, like they've gone to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy and win a Super Bowl with, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. And you got to pay him market rate.
Yeah.
And the price is always going up, and that means he's probably going to get $50 million. Now, maybe he'll take a Brady deal. Maybe he'll take a little bit less, some kind of a hometown discount to try to help them, accumulate the best talent around him. But if he wants full boat, I wouldn't begrudge him. And I don't believe that their Super Bowl run's over as soon as they're paying this guy $50 million. No, it's not over.
He's one of the reasons they're making it that far. Honestly, again, what we
he
said
is
earlier,
the reason. Yeah.
He's one of the key
I mean, how
reasons.
good is the Niner D? The Niner defense got pushed around a lot last year. They were third against the run. I haven't seen a team that was that bad against the run, that was ranked that high against the run in my entire life. They didn't stop the run all year. The only reason they stopped the run was that Brock Purdy would put up 35 points and suddenly the game got out of hand. Yeah. And the other teams, they took away. Did they stop Najee Harris in Pittsburgh in week 1? No. Brock Purdy's and the offense pulled away and took away the run game in the second half. And they did the same thing to the New York Giants. They did the same thing to the Dallas Cowboys. These teams didn't run a lot in the second half because they were down by a lot.
Yeah, Niners forced them to throw.
Right.
Absolutely.
But the Niner run D was, it was not statistically, it was a top 5 run D, but anybody who watched it knows that it was not a top tier run D. So, it's like how much of the Niners winning equation is Brock and this offense and the points that they score? Because under Brock Purdy, the Niners score about 33 points a game.
It's a big jump.
That's a big jump from where they were pre-Purdy.
It's crazy.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I just remember watching the games, and we'd be relying on Robbie Gould to bail us out. He was our offense for a while. It's been refreshing watching the Niners with Brock Purdy at quarterback, and they have CMC at running back. Those two guys together with the rest of this team, they're putting up blistering numbers. Like, it is so much fun to watch this offense exploding for 30 points a game, and